Well, things are a little bit different now with Logos 8, I mean, and I'm going back over my highlights and notes and all cluttered up from the Logos 7. I'm trying to make things neater, cleaning up old, jobbled up coloring and stuff like that, trying to make it cleaner, trying to make it connect with the notes and stuff like that. And so what I'm noticing here is that we've got a couple of notes attached to Revelation 2:10. These are linked into the verse, which is across all your Bibles, so they don't easily get deleted like this one right here is. This one can get easily deleted. If you were to just delete the color, you're going to delete that note connection. It'll still be, the data will still exist, but you're going to delete the connection right here. It'll literally delete the notes that you have inside your verses that are not linked to the actual verse itself. So anyway, that's something you might want to keep aware of. But if you're trying to go back and clean up like this note here, see that note right there, that note right there. If I were to just select all this to delete all the color, just to start fresh. Let's just, like I did right here, clean slate, trying to clean it all up. If I were to do that right here, you can kiss those notes goodbye. They're going to disappear, and that's not a good thing. If you're not ready for it, it's not. You may forget what book they're in, what presentation they're in, and it'd be difficult to link that back together from the right exact source. So pay attention before you start deleting all your color to clean up your books and stuff. What I would like to do now is kind of keep them more tied together. Now, the notes and the coloring are tied together, which makes it a little bit easier to change the color in the future. So if these notes, if this color was tied with this note here, then all I'd have to do is click on this note, boom, and I can come over here and change the color. Yeah, that's cool. So you could change the color a little bit. This color right here, however, was an additional add. Everything's added in a separate, you know, they don't like the word file, but so these are all separate from what I just had. So if I wanted to like add this little area to be colored, well, now I can get rid of this. Check this out. Now you can get rid of these colors. It's not going to affect that note right there because, as you see, it had its own coloring. Your notes can have their own coloring, and that way you can easily change. Like if I wanted to change this right here, if it's not in this note or attached to this note, and I try to delete this color, it's going to not only delete the color, but it's going to delete the note too. And that's old Logos, the way I used to do it in old Logos. I would just highlight, come back later, maybe add a note to it later. But you know, these days it might be better to just go ahead and simply think about coloring something and adding a note. I don't like to do that though. That's the problem. I like to highlight, come back later, maybe add a note. And that's the problem I'm having, is I don't always add a note when I'm actually coloring. So what are we going to do at that point? You know what I mean? So that's going to be a trouble for a lot of us because we don't necessarily want to do both at the same exact time. So anyway, what I was saying was cleaning this up, making sure you don't delete your notes in the process here is something you got to pay attention to. So I just opened up all the notes. I had like 5 notes on this verse right here. And I literally opened them all up separately in their folders, like right here. Pull them over here. There's 2 right there. And then I got 2 more over here. I actually deleted 1. So I had 5 notes that were inside this little area right here that did not have any attachments to color. So if I would have just clicked all this and deleted my color, I would have deleted my note. You see the notes are gone. The notes are absolutely gone right here. But because I knew that was going to happen, I opened them up and I located them and I found where they're at. Now I know what notes I had on that verse. You see, I opened them up separately in the notebooks just to make sure that I had connections ready to go back on there, right? So we can link anchors to it now. You can go ahead and just link in right here. Look at this, anchor in Revelation 2:10. Boom, it's done. Now you got at least one of them back in there. Let's check it out real quick. Let's get them out of the way here, and then you can see that it should be anchored back in there. Did I not anchor it? No, I got to hit save. It helps if you hit add, add, boom. Now you'll see an additional, boom, there it is right there. I added that to the actual verse. So now no matter what I color this in the future, it doesn't matter because if I delete the color, it's not attached to that note, and the note is attached to the verse. I'm not going to delete it. Okay, but any of the notes on the inside, like if I wanted to highlight prison, do a research on prison, if I wanted to put a note on that at some point and then highlight around it, let's say I got a note on it and I don't have highlights on it. See that? Now if I put color on it later, and it's going to affect that note. And so if I were to try and delete that color, it's going to delete that note. Bye-bye. And that's a huge problem. So we got to think about when we're making notes, when we're making highlights, how are they affecting each other? How are they tied to each other? And what's the best way to approach this? How am I going to best serve my studies if I'm going to create more problems for myself later? And that's what I've done. With Logos 7, I just got everything jobbled together, notes and colors. I mean, you can go through my Bible and it's just gobbledygoo full of notes and highlights that are not connected. And some of the highlights overlap. And this is another problem. If you highlight this area right here, and then you accidentally highlight over top of one of those, or highlight it twice, you know, see how of Satan is highlighted? It'll be highlighted with a second highlight here. See? And now that's been highlighted twice. That's another consideration that you got to pay attention to. Because if you're trying to, you know, delete the highlights, you'll have to delete both of them. This one word right here. Now, let's say I wanted to attach a note to that of Satan on top of that. You can get kind of messy and sloppy with how everything's going. Now, I've got a note attached to this word, these words, and these words are attached to two different colors, this color and this color. So I'm curious to see which one, does it matter which one I delete? Will the note delete if I get rid of this one? Let's see here. Let's go ahead and delete the highlight right here and see if it deletes which note. Okay, it deleted that note there. So this note was only attached to the color I put on top. So if I put another color on top of this, one more color on top of it, let's try one more color here. The note, it should be attached to the second one, not the first one. It should, I believe that if I delete the last color here, as long as you got a little bit on that, it's not going to hurt the note. If you got a little bit of color left on that, it's not going to take the note off. But if you get rid of that last little bit of color, it's going to take that note off. Boom, that note's gone. So think about that stuff. So overlapping highlights, attaching notes to your highlights, how are you going to delete and change colors in the future without deleting the notes? How are you going to start making your notes? Are you going to think about the highlight and the note together as one? So in the future, when I want to change this color right here, it's going to be attached to a note. And then once I get that attached, where is it? Yeah, see? Well, no. What is this color attached to? Open annotation? It's not attached to anything. It's just, I got to figure this out. Because if I want to change this color in the future without affecting notes in the middle here, like if I put a note right here. See, I don't know how this is going to work, guys, because I like to go back and add notes in the middle of my verse. It's already been colored, you know, and I might want to change the size of that and actually add another impression on it. And so I've got multiple layers of coloring and annotations and notes intermixing with one another. And, you know, I don't know if there's any just one right way of doing it. It just depends on what you're used to and what you like to do. But I do know we have to be careful not to delete our notes on accident. See, I've deleted the color around it. I could delete the color around it like this. And as long as I keep a little bit of, because I attach this note to these two words, as long as there's something left on it, even the one little letter, it'll keep that note there. But as soon as you delete all of it, it's going to delete the note. Now, there was a way we were looking at, like if you could just access the color only and change just the color without it changing the note. And it looked like we were able to do that before, but because it's two different annotations, one's a color and one's a note file, I don't know why we just can't call this color file. That's exactly what it is. It creates its own file, and you have a note file. They call them annotations, and that's fine, but I want to be able to change the color on this word without it affecting the note. And there should be a way of doing that. I mean, at some point in the future, we should be able to highlight anything in here and change only the color. I mean, I want to be able to go through this whole thing if I want to and just change all the color and not change my notes. I'm sick of the way the color looks, but I don't want to change my notes. Wouldn't it be great to just simply highlight through this whole thing here and change all these different color things and start fresh, because I've gotten sloppy, without it moving and deleting the notes? That would be so super cool and convenient. It really would. And so I don't know what that would take. Maybe it would take, when you first create your note, to keep it separate. You got highlights, you got notes. I really don't think they should be put together, to be honest with you. I really don't know why. If you want to, yeah, maybe have it as an option, but to make it so complicated to change the colors of these things, because it's going to affect your note, delete your note, remove your note link, that's just seems problematic to me. Take a long time to go back through here and add each one of these notes. If you had to delete them on accident, if you deleted them to change the color. If you ever want to change all these colors, you're going to have to first unlink your note, unlink these notes, and add them back. You're going to add them back, right? Now this one right here never had, it looks like, any color to it. It never had any color to it. That's why it's still independent right here. Isn't that something? I honestly don't know why that's still there. Let's see. It's a general note. It's in the general notes. Maybe that has something to do with it. So if I take this word blasphemy here and I add it to general notes, see up here, we got it right here. Let's go add it to general notes here. General. All right. Boom. Now it's in general notes, just like that one is. Now if I color these any color I want, now if I delete them, tribulation. Oh, it finally did delete that. I think I went around it is what it was. I added that note to that word, tribulation, right there. And now it's gone. Now, thank God I saw that coming. I saw that coming and I had opened it up ahead of time. See right here, that little star? That's the note that I had attached to it. My question is, how do I get it back over there? How do I get this back to that one word? Okay, I would have to do this. Let's see if this works. Click that word and then go to that note and anchor it in. Is that the way it was before? See, I got the word selected. Let me select the word and then come back to that note and you could anchor it in. Just that word, tribulation. There it is. So now I have that word with that little star right back in it already. There you go. All right, so we're learning as we go. We're trying to figure it all out, and I don't know everything, and there's a lot I'm learning every day, really. So keep watching the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep growing together. God bless you. Peace.